Hey, all right, virtual brown bag time. Meet
That's
every
right.
week between 12:30 1:30 Central, and we talk about development topics, blog posts, code, projects, whatever. It's water cooler talk. Um, and the main thing is we stream this live to YouTube, so anyone could talk, anyone could share. But if you are talking and you are sharing, just remember that it is streamed to YouTube, and so that don't share secrets or things that you don't want the public to know. And secrets as in terms of Amazon keys or um, private encrypted secret private stuff. I'm tired. I was up really late.
Cody?
So what's up, guys?
Not much. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I was out of town most of last week. Just got back. I'm getting situated. Um, I hopefully will have something to talk about next week. I've been trying to look into more SVG stuff and specifically D3 force simulation and how that all works.
Yeah.
I've been saying for a long time, I need to learn D3. Like, what do you mean learn D3? Like jQuery. But actually, I found this force simulation stuff is kind of a separate area that is interesting and is learning and is not something that you can do in another library. So it's kind of cool. It's a way of basically saying, here I have a bunch of nodes. Here are the forces between them, and then reposition the nodes. Do a simulation of the forces. It kind of has a mini little physics engine. Pretty cool. I want to figure out how to use it. Probably get into like other physics engines in general too. So hopefully
That's cool.
But I don't have anything to show with that yet, other than running through some of their code and being frustrated by the fact that their API changed entirely and no new tutorials have been written.
It seems one of those things that D3, when I dabble with it and got into it, is like, if you got good at D3, then is a good niche just to be a specialist in D3. But
Yeah.
adding it to a toolkit for what I needed to do it didn't really help as much because most of the time I just needed charts. And so there's plenty of other libraries that did that a lot better than I'm going to build a pie chart by hand. Wasn't really a worthwhile use of time.
Charts and like high charts, or even just like Excel, like Google Sheets, that's the way to go. Much better way to do it.
I did remember helping at one time with D3 that we did. I'll put up the D3JS page. So those who have not seen, I haven't been to their page in a long time anyway, so it hasn't changed all that much. Sure.
We've actually got D3 loaded in our app. I've never used it, but it's been in since day one. Well, there's a cool.
Yeah.
There was a cool kind of connect a bunch of data points to a bunch of other data points that was going to give us the ability to graph phone conversations from multiple cell phones to each other. And
Are you working for the NSA?
just police departments. No, when a investigator pulls over a drug, they arrest a drug dealer. They pull all his data out of his cell phone, and so that's how they connect up who he's talking to and how many times, how often, that sort of thing. So, no, it's like NSA Lite, I guess.
Yeah, it still sounds pretty NSA. But anyway, we didn't end up doing that.
So we've got D3 in the package, but we haven't gotten to the building the investigator piece. Right now, everything's all about what the patrolman does. So the patrolman doesn't use that part yet. So it's there when we ever get down to it, which may be this year, hopefully. This year meaning 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's time to already start planning for this year being 2017. Yeah. Yeah. The one time I used it pretty effectively was something like this, where they had like data those for the states, and they needed to show for different regions, different coloring schemes and stuff. In D3, it was easy. It was like, I think they were they're like, we need to do this, but we don't know anything. Can you figure something out with D theory? And I think I did a spike like in the afternoon. I had it working, and I was like, here you go. And so it when you have stuff like that, it works great. I think the one-off things.
Yeah.
You see that one? Let me put you look at your screen again.
Yeah, there's an article where I think I had it pulled up on my iPad maybe.
I think that Eurodebt map right down there about the middle was kind of what we were going for.
Eurodebt map.
Yeah, one down. Well, the chord diagram, top left, I think either that. One of those two was kind of close to what we were looking at. Yeah, right there in the middle. There you go.
Like that?
Yeah, it was something kind of similar to that, where each of the, like, was that Spain on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
So that would be one phone number, and it would have, depending on how often it was called, it would be, it'd be
Change
smaller,
size,
larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it would, and then you would visualize the frequency of calls to and from the same numbers and that sort of.
That'd be pretty cool.
In theory, if we ever do it, it ought to be pretty neat. But
in theory, if you ever want someone to do a contract to do a little spike in that, you know how to get in touch with me.
If you've been down this road, I'm very welcome.
It's kind of interesting because it would be cool to have, like, if you imported one phone's data and then you compare that with another phone's data, you could suddenly real easily just put that together and have a pretty good map of seeing who's calling who.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
And unlike, I have friends that didn't have, I remember there was a good job for one of them, and it was related to some law enforcement stuff, and he's like, no, I'm not going to do a law enforcement thing. And I'm like, but they're they're the good guys. And he's like, no, but they can do all this stuff. I was like, no, it's your job to make sure that they don't do that. Like, you come in and give them the tools that they within their bounds. Now, if they're like, look, we want to break the law, that's when you go, no, I don't break the law, guys.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, it's fun helping them out.
Yeah, that's the it's funny. There is a social aspect to being in the industry, and that is, giving the guys tools that can make their job effective, not necessarily easy. I don't want to make it easy to grab all this data, but effective when they have the right to do it.
Right.
So, anyway, that's the whole social political side of being in law enforcement.
Yeah. While we're looking at blog posts and stuff,
pull up the link I just posted in the chat.
Yeah.
Right. That goes to the post in that chat.
Let me get this link here. I'm sharing.
But that goes a little bit toward this what you're talking about. So this guy is basically using 24 different tools to recreate the same chart. Pretty cool little GIF of him doing it all. But if you scroll down a bit, you just scroll down. So he creates all these little charts. Like, all right, if you're worried more about presenting data to a point that you just want to present it, this is kind of what's bias point for there. Whereas if you want to analyze data, like, okay, R or map is better for that. And he's got several charts on that. Just scroll down through.
That's cool.
So, yeah, this is like an analysis versus presentation thing. You just scroll down a bit. You'll see. Okay, do you need to be flexible or not too flexible? Static or interactive? It's like, this is like a cool little, it's like a nice, fun little guide he put together. I say he, I didn't actually check it out. Oh, it's a female. It's a lady, so she. Okay. But yeah,
I really appreciate guys that do that much work to help make my decision process so much shorter.
Yeah,
like I want to thank them somehow.
But yeah, like this sort of thing, I was like, this is really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw that out there because I was reading that this morning. It's really cool because she's going through, she's doing like the same chart over and over and over again, kind of figuring out all the different things.
Yeah.
From just using Adobe Illustrator to hand coding it with D3 or whatever. Right, obviously, that's on the extreme end of high flexible
Right.
processing and stuff along there. But processing can do the same stuff. It's just more of a pain in the ass to do it.
Well, this has got me so interested in it, and we're looking for something to talk anyway. Why don't we just start doing it?
All right.
Let's just pretend that we're doing this project and we want to do this chart, and we'll just see how far we get with it. So let me get my page set up so we can see this thing.
They apparently D3 has its own like live code validator. It's called blockbuilder.org.
Yeah, they've had that for a long time.
Right, yeah. I usually just use JSBin, but like I tried that the other day. All right, that's not bad.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do.
Good shot. Although it does drive me nuts that it doesn't have Vim binding. So I went back to JSBin.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Change me.
All right, so we want to copy. I'm gonna move this zero debt crisis thing over here so I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck, if we're gonna do this, let's just cheat like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just all their stuff. And we'll start with their script.
All right.
And we see
Yeah, I don't see that. Okay.
error right here. Can it read property core of undefined?
Probably
Because
because
it's the older version of D3?
yeah, it's including the 3v4. It changed line 4 to v3. Better. But
Doesn't seem to be working.
that's still not working. But that one error went away.
Yeah, let's see what else we got down here. Uncaught object.
So that error. D3.csv. Wait, yeah. Oh, yeah, because that's
Because we don't have the CSV file.
yeah, that's an AJAX request. Yeah.
All right, so
you would need to go and grab it actually from the visualization and like embed it as a JSON or something.
well, let's just figure out. Yeah, can we just do like pass in JSON? I think I've seen.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so
Can we do JSON like that?
No. Well, you need that's a request to a file.
Right.
So hold on. So leave it with the way it was, but you would just go grab the file.
Oh, I want to make up our own data. So let's not even do the CSV
Well, we don't know what
request.
structure the data needs to be.
Well, it's just why do we even need it? We don't even need to retrieve the data. We'll just go, okay, now let's make our data. And what do we want to do? We can just replace it as we go down here.
Well, so let's look at the original data and see what kind of data it is.
How are we going to see? Oh, the original data looks like this. Oh, because if block, I think we can make a separate file here and request it.
So I bet CSV like deserial JSONizes that. Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to just choose any file. I guess that doesn't really work the way I want it.
Let's add new. Can't you just click plus add new file?
That's what I thought, and then it
Oh,
just shows. Oh, create file. Here we go. Create file. We'll call this data.
That's CSV.
All right, and then I'll copy theirs, and we'll start with that.
And once we get it working, the thing that I always do just to learn this stuff is just start converting it to ES6 or ClojureScript or something else.
Why?
Well, because that forces me to touch every single line of code.
Okay.
And so you need to undo a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. To the left. There we go. Cannot read property for each of undefined. Well, that should work now. See, det.csv, is that what I call? No, I called it data. Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at that. Hey.
Hey.
All right, so if I was, we'll keep this data the same that they have here. Here they have.
I wish we could do like a side-by-side view. That's weird.
Yeah, so we'll keep that there just so we can always have reference it. But let's make a new file, and we'll call this phone.p. So what would we expect this data to look like or whatever? I'm going to copy this.
Well, it looks like from, to, and then I don't know. What are the headings on this?
What happened to my phone data in the CSV? Did I delete it? Shit, did I break it? Oh my god, this interface is dookie. Is there a way to change? Switch to side by. What does side by do?
Oh, that's nice. That's much nicer.
Let me see if I can expand this so I can see things. All right. What does dot block do? Okay. What does this readme? Readme. Can you go away? Shit.
Oh.
All right. Let's go back. Okay. Create a file. And what they had data.csv.
Cool.
This thing is all sorts of weird looking, isn't it?
Oh, that's weird. It's like just popping up in there.
Yeah. Phone experiment.
What are the headings on this CSV data?
There we go. Phone experiment. All right.
Can you just show me the top of the CSV data? That's what I'm like.
Yeah.
Confused about.
So here we have.
Okay. Creditor, debtor.
Risk.
So the two nodes that are connected and two values.
Right.
And
so
for by phones, you were thinking in terms of this person called this person and this is how long they talked or something like that?
There was, I think, if I remember I think it was calling number, called number, and then there was a length of call and frequency.
Sure, yeah. So like length of, yeah.
All right, so let's go through that. So calling number.
And then called number.
Called number.
Don't do multiple words.
Yeah, no,
it's just gonna confuse you because then later on when you're using it as JSON, it's gonna be like really difficult.
Yeah, I'm just putting it out there as a brainstorm. It's not gonna be the final thing. I just wanted to capture it. Yeah. So calling number, called number, frequency, and what was the other one?
Length, duration.
Length. Durations.
I think I say we just deal with duration for now.
Yeah, and I think frequency was calculated some other way.
Yeah, let's not deal with frequency.
Okay. Well, why not? Let's just put it in here. We don't have to deal with it in terms of that. But this one already deals with two different numbers, amount and risk. One's going to be the color, and the other one's going to be something else. So might as well have two numbers.
I'm actually not sure how to read that diagram at all.
So calling and called. We'll just come up with some random phone numbers. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, let me.
If we ever got
fakenumber.org. Here we go. Fakenumber.org.
Yeah, what is it? The world's simplest code generator. You go to that.
Here we go. We have this number. This is going to call this number 10 times. And duration, we'll just pretend it's going to be a number in seconds or something. So we'll just 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll replace this as a called number. And this was done 5 times. This is our new data. Terribly uninteresting, but proof of concept.
Yeah.
All right. So if we go back to our index. Instead, we're going to listen to phone data.csv. And I guess we probably should do this side by side so we can see. Okay, now it's there. Where we go. So phone data CSV. So country by name, country by index, JavaScript. Why do you need these 3 different ways? Okay, so data for each. If the country name has a creditor, get the country by name. Else country by name set.
D3 dot. Oh, is that like a D3 equivalent of maps?
Yeah, they're creating a map.
Okay. Wait, where's our view of the data? Why is our data?
It's broken because it's pulling in phone data now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the first thing they're doing is they're creating a map.
Oh, wait, can you reshuffle the split so the lines don't wrap all over you? That's really hard to.
Can I make this? There you go.
Yeah. So we could probably just use the built-in JavaScript now, but I guess we should.
Okay. Like the built-in JavaScript map?
Yeah, JavaScript has a map object.
Like a JSON object, or what? You're gonna tell me what you type in here then?
It would have. So well, hold on. Let me make sure that this isn't like used some other way. So country by name is used there, and then where's country by name actually used after all the assignments?
Country by name. I don't see it.
A lot of index.
Control F.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I mean, that doesn't make sense for that to be the only.
But they're setting the risk. I think that's what maybe this one's main thing goal is to set the risk on it.
Debtor. What is D?
Debtor and creditor.
But that just changes. No. Wait a second. That has nothing to do with. But what is line 81 through 84 doing?
All they're doing is getting. That is interesting. What the hell is it doing?
That's not doing.
It's setting the debtor and.
It is okay. It does set the debtor. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Oh, okay, so make sure the debtor is set to the same object. Okay, then you can totally do it. So take d3.map and replace it with map with a capital new map with a capital M. Yep, there you go. Same exact thing.
Mhm.
Country index and country by index.
Let me take a look at this.
Yes. Yeah, so this is going to work. This is going to work exactly the same.
I'm looking up because I've never really used the
It's-
map.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
new?
the last couple of years. It's a similar thing to how we've used objects as hash maps.
Yeah.
It's optimized for that, basically. But
I'm trying to find where I can find because every time they show me the map function, I'm like, I know what map function is. I want to know the map. What did it call data structure? That's what I would call it.
yeah, do just search for JavaScript hash map or something. MDN.
I think I found it. All right, so it has entries. It has and has. It has a get. You get the keys. You get the set. I pulled up. What I'm looking at is this Mozilla reference. So I can see what I can call with it.
These don't have to be strings, which is one of the really big benefits over just using objects.
Yeah.
So it's like the concept of a hash map from other languages.
In this scenario, all it's doing is setting the risk thing value. What's even just skip this? This isn't even related to the chart we want to do.
Yeah.
Let's just keep on going down.
It is, I think, because I think what it's doing is it's making sure that the debtor object and the creditor object are not just new objects; they're the same objects. The creditor and debtor objects don't exist unless that code runs. You can see the error on line 102 as a result.
Right. Well, yeah, but we're not even looking at debtors and creditors, so that'd be one reason it's going to blow up. So initialize a square matrix of debts and credits.
Sure. That does do that.
What the hell? What's this? See, like, I almost would build this stuff by hand because I'm trying to figure out why we even need to do this. Okay, so we have a chord, layout chord. We need to fill the day layout dot chords. Where do we set the layout dot chords? It doesn't come.
That is a good question.
Because here has debts and credits.
Right above that, chord generator.
Here's a matrix. These are debts and credits. That's how it gets the data.
Layout.chords. Oh yeah, I don't know what the concept of chords is. That's like line 39 is probably the relevant line, but I don't really know what that is.
So we're doing a chord chart, and they're going through and they're setting this information up. This is just in the layout. But here's when they're saying, hey, the data for this chart is going to be in these two values. These two values start off as an empty arrays. It's inside here that these arrays are filled out.
Okay.
And they start up as zeros.
Mm-hmm. And then it's probably just kind of, so I would assume that it's just going through, it's a matrix of debtors and creditors, and it's just saying, just incrementing the values by whatever their values is. Just putting it into a matrix to make it easier to work with, right?
Right. Let's take a look. D3 chord.
I have no idea what the concept of the chord is. That is different.
This page has moved. Let's look at D3.
Yeah. Oh no, but you have to find the D3 documentation.
Right.
Yeah.
The matrix specifies that the input matrix used by this layout. Matrix not specified returns a correct data. Okay.
Is this this type of chart or something?
Yeah. See, this is where I dial back even before.
Chord is the name of this type of chart.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's
There's
just.
some aspect of it probably. Like D3 doesn't have chart types built into it, but it does have like, I guess, aspects.
For each diagram,
Mm-hmm.
we take the matrix in J.
Two diagrams, basically. J is going to be the index.
Index, right?
1, 0, or 1. Because there's two diagrams.
D source value dot. Boy, I forgot why D3 is a pain in the rear to work with. It's like, what?
Well, it's not. It's just there's concepts. There's data visualization concepts that you gotta learn.
Oh my God, tracing this is a pain in the rear. Okay, so
That's why I start just rewriting to ES6.
well, the problem isn't the JavaScript. The problem is figure what do they want you to get to, what is the format that you need.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I'd rather see this instead of just the code. This is what the format looks like now. This is what it looks like now. This is what we're getting into. Because really, it more than anything is just a data manipulation library, and data manipulation to the point of manipulating SVG. So that branches those two things.
Sure.
So where can we just hard code values? That's what I like to do, is hard code and then going through. So here has debtor.name, source.value. Let's drop the name. And here I'm just going. Whatever. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point because I don't see how I can connect the two together without going through crazy jumping around. Because it's not even the same concepts, right? Because we're not they're connecting debtors and creditors by.
So first of all, I think those are probably two because they have two different values, right? They have,
right.
And I think each of those charts, let's start with understanding what each of those charts are presented.
Mm-hmm.
I think each of those charts are presented one of those, a visualization of one of those properties. I'm not sure.
Can we see, if I do a console log, do they output this at all?
Yeah, it will. It'll output the map.
There's like a two object property or something that'll make it easier to look. But I mean, it's gonna look like
So where would the console log even be then?
just open your console. Apple chip, what is it? Apple Alt J or whatever.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. So let's do the map first. So I'm sort of getting that now. What we want to do. So what we want to do here is, so here I have this guy called this guy. So we have to have the reverse, otherwise this thing's going to be weird. So let's call him, and we have to have the same numbers, I assume.
No, the frequency and times could be different. So A call B 10 times for 34 seconds, but B called A 25 times or 5 times for 10 seconds.
But then you could have a situation where they don't map back and forth.
I think that's what the chord chart's designed to try to show is some relationship between.
Okay.
I think, again, this was over a year ago when we started looking at it and said, hey, we could probably do this with this functionality.
Let's try there. I think it's enough to know that, hey, we had now it goes back and forth between the two. Okay. So calls by number, if it has calling number, then the callee is going to be equal to called by number, get the calling number. Else set the callee to the create the unique index for each country. That is so unclear what it's trying to do. Why are they doing this? What is it doing? Creditor index? Dude, my brain, not enough sleep. Okay, so they want to create an object for each of these so that each data has
Hey, I'm back. Sorry.
a creditor, a callee, and a caller. So the goal of this really, if I want to describe, the goal of this is so that on data, we want to get. Seems right?
Mm-hmm.
But we sort of already have that, right? Like,
But that's not computing an index for each country. It's just creating a unique object.
oh, and then they give an index to it because then they want to get the country by index.
So look, the problem is that right now it's coming in. They're coming in as separate JSON objects. They want the references to similar things actually to be the same. So see, that's why it's doing this whole map reduction. It's essentially they want to be able to use equals and not always have to check does callee, does the name of it equals the name of one other things that's already in the list. That's all that this is. This is normalizing that JSON's coming in. So if you have France, that was called and later France that was called again, right? Those will be two different object references at the moment. And they're simply normalizing to make them the same reference. I mean, and yes, they're putting some structure to it, but that's basically it.
And so what's the end result? So,
well, I mean, does your console log not show you?
Of what, like to see what their stuff looks like?
Yeah, what calls by number looks like for each runs.
Let me see if I can fork their thing.
Just put a space somewhere. Actually, even better. At the top, so scroll up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just toward the top of the script and put console.clear up there. That'll clear out any old stuff in the console. You probably want that like a little higher up in the screen.
Okay.
I guess it's good for me. Yeah. So see, it cleared out. There's your map.
I'm still unclear into what the hell they're trying to do and why they're doing it this way.
Well, okay. First of all, don't pull in phone data because phone data screws all of that up because now there is no d.calling and d.callee.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, I mean, tracing their stuff is going to be okay. So if I do, I would have to like undo all this stuff. I guess I'm still figuring out what is the goal. I mean, I still don't understand. You guys understand this is one of the reasons why I'm terrible, probably at JavaScript stuff, because I'm like, this seems really weird and like complex to do something that I would think was pretty straightforward. Like, what are we trying to like? Are we getting? Why are we getting? So we get in the data and we just want to have it like as a tree, a map of with the IDs and indexes, or
Do this. Let's do this. Comment out your call logs thing. Well, okay, we would need to get the actual data again to because I think we can demonstrate it. It's just you need to. First of all, you need to use their actual data. I think.
so we just okay. Let me just copy their stuff then, and we'll go back to their data.
Yeah, because I think that part I can explain. All right. So you've got that. So let's put console. Don't put country by name. Do data. Sorry, because country by name is actually. Oh, and do the console.clear. Like put that up on line 70 or something, or 71, or that. Okay. So if you look at what's in here, right? These have creditor and debtor objects.
Right.
Right. So now when this came into the system, it didn't have those objects. Actually, I guess we should.
Yeah.
So to do, like if you output just data on line 78, like do a JSON on line 78. No, that's not going to do it because you're modifying data on the following lines, and console.log shows a live view of that object. So you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do something like console.log JSON.stringify.
.stringify.
Yeah. All right. So if you look at what's coming in there, you see creditor and debtor are strings, right? Now, but if you expand those objects after the transformation, what it looks like.
Yeah, I understand that part. My confusion is why did they even do this structure? Like, it seems like you can achieve this without that complexity.
So now let's say that they update the risk on this creditor. That means everyone whose creditor or debtor is Britain will have their risk increased automatically since it's shared state. Right? This whole thing was about taking this. So find an instance of somewhere else where there's Britain in this array, right?
Yeah.
Greece. Yeah, Britain. Okay. So I bet if you update one of those, it'll update it in both places.
I just did and didn't.
I mean, that maybe it didn't, or maybe that's just I didn't even know you could click on that and update.
Maybe.
And maybe that's like a thing I've never even seen before. Try this. Actually, we'll do more DevTools stuff. So if you go to where the variable where you console log the variable, just scroll up a little bit in the console. Right click on where it says array 45.
Yeah.
Can you right click? Try anything? No menu. Right click on the arrow or something.
Yeah, I got a little menu. I guess you can't see it.
Oh, I can't see. Is there like stores global variable?
Yeah, stores global variable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scroll down so we can see.
Failed to save.
Because
It's in its own little process or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes that works, but so then you could like do something like window.data equals data. But that's probably annoying. You don't want to do that. Actually, you know probably why you couldn't save it. It's because that view is coming from an iframe, and you're in an JavaScript context outside of it.
This is what I really care more about.
Sure.
Okay, so what they do is for each of these things, they actually have the debtor and creditor inside each of these objects. But why do they have 10 if some of these are 0? What the hell is different? Oh, because the index, because there's 10 countries. Okay. Okay. It's coming together now. All right, so if we're looking here, we're gonna have a matrix. We have a matrix where we have each row is equal to the column is equal to column.
Is that true, or is it just a square matrix? Because someone can only ever call someone and never receive a call.
What do you mean? So say it again. Explain it again. You said.
So I'm not sure. I guess I'm not quite sure how large this matrix, what this matrix is, because it's one thing if you're saying, okay, the rows are everyone who made a call, the columns are everyone who received the call, which is different from saying, you know, all people with phone numbers, and by all people with phone numbers, because someone can only ever receive calls and never make a call, for example. Which in the second case, the matrix would be squared, right?
Right.
But does it have to be square, or is it not? Because if it's not square, that would mean someone's not doing one of those things, right?
Right.
Well, and that actually, real world, that's very possible, because a lot of this is calls to pagers.
Right. So
It's still around, by the way.
if it is square, then I would say it's not row and is caller and column is callee. It's that both row and column are just a list of all numbers.
We're going to go with the assumption that it's not square. That's why I can do the caller and callee, even though their example though is 10 by 10. So the question is, would chord even work if it's not?
Right.
I guess we can do. Let me see if it works. If it isn't, by doing and you're gone.
Yeah, that's probably
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just so happens to be 10, I think. Actually, let's just all of Japan and see what happens. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it's still 10.
All right. Good enough for me.
I guess some of these, let's explore here. Some of them's got to be like just nothing but zeros.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's that guy almost.
Either they can have a number in it or an object. I don't care for that at all.
Here we go. There's one. This is nothing but zeros.
Yeah. Well, no, there's an object in the first one.
Oh, damn! First one is object.
No, not only zeros.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. That's so weird. I'm destroying your data, and you're just like, I don't care. Oh, I see. Maybe there's references to it. So here, there's no more references to Japan. Where's it?
Well, if there's no references to Japan, then it'd be 9 by 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is there 1, 2, 3, 4?
It's 9.
Oh, so it's 9. Yeah, 9, 9.
Right, because you got rid of Japan entirely.
Yeah. I was just making sure, just seeing what's going on. All right. So I still think you did the caller and then the callee.
All right. Yeah,
Right.
I'm not saying it's one way or the other. I don't really understand.
I almost want to have like 2 different pages, like this setup. Can I clone? I can fork this one. I'm gonna do that. All right, there we go. Side by side. Drag this out. Where can I have? I want to open this up in the other. Where can I get? I forked it, but I don't have reference to the other one. Fail. All right, so I have that open on the other page so I can look at it. All right, so can I edit this? Why won't you let me? I'm breaking this guy. All right, so it says side by side. Pull it over. There we go. All right, let's just do edit their data to get some stuff that we want to do. And we'll slowly just change each one of the things. So if we look at their data, what if the first thing you can do is, this doesn't matter, right? We can just say, oh, it doesn't matter. Because I guess the CSV that it enters, the CSV that it enters uses this information. So let's affect that first or last. Let's do this first. Every time we see Britain, where's my fake phone numbers? Fake phone numbers. There we go. Britain. There we go. We have the number showing up there. So we know that can work. I'd actually probably do this in a separate text file. In fact, let's just do that there. And see my share this guy. So we're going to find Portugal. And I think you can do replace all, right? Mm-hmm. Bam! In France, we'll do this. Seem to make sense?
Sure.
So you think interesting path of doing this, or do you think I'm kind of going crazy with this?
No, I mean, sometimes it's the only way to make it through the learning exercise, right?
Yeah. See. Okay. Well, we
Catch the brain until it understands the edges of kind of what you're working with.
All right, and then this. The other thing I'm kind of thinking actually with this is that actually phone numbers are harder to work with because that's the easiest thing to replace, right?
But
because if we're debugging it, debugging
I don't know
125 and 1.
You can't just say that Germany called Spain for the sake of the document. And then
Yeah, you can totally just call that. So let's just stick with that. Let's just say, hey, Germany called Spain. We'll stick with that. I agree. That's what I was like. I don't think I'm gaining a lot here besides muddying the waters. Okay. Well, what's changed then? Let's start doing something so I can start understanding how some of these things connect. Amount and risk. We want to change those.
Wait, we're still seeing your VS Code.
Sorry. Yeah. Let me start.
I mean, it depends. I guess if we wanted to say the amount of times that call happened, and I would. I still don't understand how to read this chart. I mean, I'm still back to that, right?
Well, if you look at Germany there, I think what the chart's saying is Germany's making an awful lot of calls.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take mouse to the right a little bit. Yeah, so those are that he's making the bulk of his calls to follow that little cone up to whatever that little bitty sliver would be.
Yeah.
But what do the colors indicate, and what does the size of the space along the circle indicate?
So the color is the
Color may
risk.
be risk, and the size is probably the size of the cone as it goes through is probably the, what was it, amount?
Yeah, that's the size of the cone, but what about the size of the country? Right, Germany and France and Italy are all different sizes. That's,
Well, Germany's would be the sum total of its amounts to all the different,
is it
the
just,
sum total of its calls to all the different places it called.
yeah, I mean, maybe that's just the sum along the base, basically. Is what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get down to like 3 different things.
Yeah.
I bet that'll make it easier.
We'll have
Yeah, like keep up Britain to United.
Britain. We'll have United States. And France. That was just-
It's weird that looking at the data, it's easier to understand them. All right, so this means, but we see, no, well, yeah, I don't, that doesn't make
But
sense.
United States doesn't have anything that. Actually, let me double check. I'm looking at our original data, and so we could totally have it wrong.
The United States doesn't appear on our first.
United States, yeah, it doesn't have anything for. They only have Greece, Ireland, and Italy. So they don't have anything to France and stuff. So I think that's fair. We can do this.
No. No. So then, what does this show us? Maybe
That
that's
the United States is here, and that France.
So France and Britain are making approximately equivalent amounts of outgoing calls to the, and they happen to be going to the United States. So now bring that last one back, though.
Let me get back to my foo. Where I changed foo. Let's get back to where it says with d dot source. Better dot name. Let me double check. Yeah, debtor dot name. Where am I? Where am I here?
135.
Dot name.
Oh, that's nice about that. So now, what happens when you bring back that one row of data that you deleted?
I said United States
Greece.
and look at United States Greece. I'll just copy it over here. So risk here, the red. So 1, I guess, is like low risk. So that's why be gray. Be hey, it's good. United States is good investment.
I'll let you know.
Meanwhile, Greece is like, no, it's bad. That's why it's red. And it's a 3.1. So what's changes to whole crap done? Now we can see that. Holy crap.
Now, okay.
That actually hit. Oh,
So the United States is participating in the system more. That's almost like.
it has 2 of them too. That's another thing that makes it a little bit more. So
Yeah.
now we see it inversed over here.
Right, but so on that last row, what if you change Italy, United States to Italy? Am I right?
This one?
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So one of these is about incoming calls. One of these is about outgoing calls, right?
Right.
So the right one is about incoming. The left one is about outgoing.
Okay.
Okay.
So and we have risk. In this case, our risk could be like, I would think you'd want to see the frequency more than the duration because
I don't think the risk really, or like unless you're doing high frequency, low frequency or something. But, yeah.
right. So you almost would be drop that thing entirely, risk entirely in our scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
And just see if we can get the charts to do that.
Yeah,
So
from and
let's
to and risk and frequency would be plenty.
What is going on in the second chart? Why is France not appearing there at all?
because they don't have any debt.
Right. Okay.
Oh, they're here. They're the little tiny little slivers.
There's United
Like
States.
inverses.
So, okay. Right.
So Greece owes Italy 3
Okay.
billion bazillions.
Yeah.
And they're a bad credit risk.
Yeah. I mean, if you were going to color it, you could be like known bad guys and known good guys,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
or suspected bad guys.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So if we're going to change this, what would be the next step we want to see with this? I think this is pretty good. We have a small amount of data. Let's drop this actually so that we only have this. Oh, that's not as interesting.
Right. I think 3 is more interesting.
I would do this though, so we have a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. It's funny that the names go away. Like, why do the names go away?
That's interesting.
Like, we're really not
At
doing.
what point did they go away?
Yeah. All right.
I was
All
gonna say-
right. So we can replace these numbers. We could replace this, and the risk we could replace it with what there. But I don't know if that really gained us a whole lot. Versus let's see what else can we learn. We have a few minutes left. What else can we learn about this so that we can dabble with it? All right. So to this part, the whole point is to map
Mhm.
the data across so that they're connected.
Okay.
If
Still
I
interesting
just-
why those numbers went away, or why the United States and Greece and all went away.
I think it just has to do with the refresh that they're blocked.
Okay.
Not doing right. Because when you do reload and stuff like that, it seems like because sometimes the hovering was working and sometimes it wasn't.
Oh.
So like right now, it's like it's not working. That should the tooltip. So I would start replacing this first by would start using our terminology, right? I would replace creditor with caller.
Mm-hmm.
I would just replace each one. We got 3 minutes left, so we'll just talk through stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just start going through each one of those things. And then what the risk, we had frequency and duration, and we didn't really care about that. We just wanted frequency and
Yeah. Yeah. Mount would just become Mount would become frequency, I guess. I imagine. Where do they get amounts from? Is that just a data point?
yeah, let's see what they're putting in for the amount. Fill, stroke, title, debt, source, dot values. So value should be a number, but then it's an object. This is a weird JavaScript thing. So right, so like, could you have like object properties on a number?
You could, but they would be the same property on every instance of that number. Nope. I don't know, but you could.
Because see, it's doing the format dot value.
Yeah. Well, okay. Look, this is easy enough to test. Just type in your console x equals 1, 2, 3, and then try to just set a property on x. I think name might be a special. It might be a special.
Okay. X not.
I'm pretty sure foo is special. I'm joking. Okay, so they're immutable. They're silently immutable, which is a metadata flag you can set on objects in JavaScript. Okay. So I think
Format could be a function.
maybe call it object
Make
foo.
up.
Okay. It does that.
And I wonder if it automatically explores an object for the amount property.
But why do you think source? I mean, why don't you just pause in the middle of that function?
Okay.
Okay, so just make that a multi-line function. Just put that on a new line, and just above the return, type debugger semicolon.
Yeah.
Should break into your debugger if it ever runs. If it didn't break, then it means it never ran. Oh, well, how is it running? What? You know what? This is like an error that I ran into one time, like 3 years ago, when working with iframes. The
Did they bug yours?
debugger gets really freaking weird. I don't think. I mean, I think I remember even reporting the bug for it and being like, I found bug in Chrome, but I guess. Damn, that sucks. So you're not going to be able to hit the debugger into it.
I think that's what's happening. It's a format. At D3, it's a format function, and read the object and looks for the mount value. Let's just do a little experiment. D3 format. Format numbers. The format specifier. None. That's so fun. Well, anyway, we're running out of time. We did some interesting dive into it. Our brains are sufficiently warped, but we have some interesting ideas, and it's got me interested enough that I'm probably going to be hacking on this.
Yeah, I'll try to figure out the force simulation stuff for next time, too. We can talk about that.
That's cool.
Hey, I meant to ask, just before we go, does anyone have any advice on how to do code reviews, specifically whole project, how to do a whole code-based code review, rather than, like, when you are in a workflow that doesn't have pull requests? Does anyone have a workflow without, like they're happy with?
Without pull requests?
Yeah, with no pull requests. Yeah, so you basically you get the code base. It's either using a system or a workflow that doesn't support code reviews. But it doesn't support pull requests, like, right?
Pull request.
I mean, we did this stuff before we had pull requests.
Right, but does anybody? I never had a workflow that I liked about it. Does anybody have a workflow that? Because the issue I'm having is I'm trying to recommend a code review workflow.
Mm-hmm.
All of our projects can use pull request systems, like they're working in a client's workflow or something like that. So I don't know what to recommend for people.
I mean, I think the solution for that would be, I hate to say it, but like if you're going to do code review workflow without pull requests, the only way I can think about it is having it with like FXCop or build script type stuff, where the build, you do code analysis on the build.
I mean, I'm saying.
I know, but like, or you have to spend a day and that's what you do, because otherwise, like, how are you going to know that the code changed? Like, otherwise, you're going to
No, I understand that, but I'm not saying you have to like look at state. I'm saying just absent of the pull request mechanism.
Yeah.
What process? Have you had a process that works? Absent of that, 'cause I can't think of one. Like, we didn't really do much code review officially at EPF.
I mean, the only way you can do code review is if you know what code has changed. And so ignoring the pull request aspect of it, if let's say you just had a day, like every Friday, what you do is you do code review for whatever the stuff that y'all did this week. Let's just assume that's what we're going to do. I guess I don't know what source control system they have, or to look and see like what got changed this week. Like, are they in TFS? Can you do that? Can you just say, hey, give me the stuff that's changed this week?
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of different systems. There's people that use Git or Mercurial without pull requests as well. And that's kind of where it comes up.
What do they
You
use
can go
for
commit
bug?
by
And,
commit.
Yeah.
what do they do for bug and issue trackers?
What do they do for what?
For like bug and issue trackers. Like if they're doing code build, what are they using to manage what is being worked on day by day during the week?
Either our stuff or not our stuff. I mean, what do you mean? Like we have like 200 projects,
Right.
or something like that. Most of them are on our infrastructure. A lot of them are not. So,
Right, but
so
do y'all?
everything under the sun is the answer.
I was just thinking, if there's a system that says, hey, there's these things that we're going to try to have effort towards this week, and it's issue number 5, 12, and 18.
Yeah. But you can know what issues you're working on, but then how to actually review the code
sort of go in, look at the commits or something like that. It's
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
But that's a fair question. Unfortunately, the answer is like, whatever.
we're small enough and new enough. I don't have those problems yet.
I think to do any sort of code, I guess break down the pieces of the code review. The pieces of code review is you have to identify what code you're going to be reviewing, and then the frequency which you're going to review it, and the pull request is just an easy mechanism for that.
How to communicate the review results and how to have conversations. Because
yeah.
that to me is the really useful part of the pull request workflow is that you can have threaded conversations about the piece of code. Has anyone seen a way to do that outside of that?
I've done nothing but GitHub. So no, I don't know. I haven't. I mean, when we did it back in the day, you had code review and stuff like you.
I don't remember how it worked. I think I actually started working with people who cared about code. Like by the time I started that, GitHub had existed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. It also just depends on different cultures and have different groups too. Like, because there's certain cultures where it's just like, look, you gotta ship the code, and people can do some pretty good job. Yeah, and there's other cultures where it's like it's a really big deal to do the code reviews and stuff. I mean, if you're doing, like I say, the core of the code review is you have to have pieces of code that everyone can look at and they're chopped down, and probably someone who's leading that charge. And if you're going to do it outside, let's say you didn't have GitHub and how you're going to do it, have to have some form in which you can discuss pieces of code. GIS, maybe. Video could be another thing. I don't know if you have pairing that you can do with it, or it has to be offline, because that's a big.
I think it has to be asynchronous in our case.
Yeah.
Because the people aren't always online at the same time. Like code reviewers aren't typically on the project. They're like, someone has a couple hours allocated a month. All right, that's fine. I was just throwing it out there. If someone had like a process they had used in both, like or whatever, I could push for it. But so far, I'm finding very few people encouraged by code review.
Well, I think what you have is a disconnect that those who care a lot about code quality and code reviews and stuff are probably those who also have their project on GitHub and use that process.
Yeah, they were supposed to be using stuff before GitHub and pull requests did.
But it was a different culture too, because asynchronous communication wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, it might be kind of just be at an intersection there. That's really
right. Because if you had a problem there, you generally sit down and talk to them about it, or and it also could be that in that point in my life in programming, I was in shop doing that, so it was synchronous. You could just sit there and go, "Hey, this is what I was looking at, and what are we doing here?" And now I'm all asynchronous, but it just happens to be GitHub. That of the stuff they're talking about GitHub stuff, that's the thing that's blowing my mind recently or this week. Was me thinking that like watching some other developers and the skills they have with Git and the GitHub and all that stuff, and I'm like, man, they're so good with it. And then I'm thinking they have never had a point in their career where there wasn't Git and GitHub. Like literally have been doing it for 8+ years. Like when would you define GitHub and Git being a thing like normal? I'd be like
2011.
11, you think?
What?
GitHub was more of a thing. I would say like 6 or 7.
I mean, look, when we were at EPS, we use it I don't remember even hearing of it.
I never GitHub in my before EPS and looking and using GitHub.
Maybe.
I only go back to 2010, so.
Yeah.
If I can look up GitHub population.
I just ask GitHub people. No.
GitHub.
Hey, you guys.
And okay. Let's say founded. There we go. It's founded. Okay, man, dude, I've heard it before 2008. There's no way.
Oh, wow.
You can have heard whatever you want.
When was? No, man. No. It had to be before then. Maybe it was just a thing or something, or because I was using it with Ryan. Like Ryan's first introduced me to this, and he was looking at that. I don't know. what the hell were we looking at? I swear to God, we were looking at GitHub and looking at stuff in like 2006. In the alternate reality,
2006
apparently.
was a long time ago.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time ago.
2006.
That's a long time ago.
Well, no, I mean like that was before I had like any professional.
Here we go. Wiki to the rescue. Development of GitHub platform began in 2007. And maybe that's why I heard some of the stuff. Because it was before I went to EPS. And I saw some of the things going into it. Yeah, it's probably, yeah, okay. Now the dates are lining in my head. It is 2008, because I was viewing 2008 was a little bit later in what I was actually doing. Okay, fair point. There you go. 2008. Still, 8 years they've been doing that. That's all they know.
All right, I do have to run.
All right, later, guys.
All right, George. Thank you, guys.